Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a really powerful argument about the future of AI and education. And we're asking a huge question. Have we completely miscategorized one of the most important technologies of our time? So, let's kick things off with a confession. And this is a pretty striking one from a founder who created a truly groundbreaking educational tool. They came to believe that what they did wasn't just innovation, it was actually causing harm by walling off something that should belong to everyone. Okay, so what makes this tool so important? Well, it's a game changer. It basically democratizes a skill that, as the source argues, is becoming essential for just participating in the modern world. But here's the thing, the founder locked it behind a paywall, and that's what created this massive ethical crisis for them. And the founder's quick to admit, what they did, it's totally standard practice in business, right? You gotta protect your intellectual property, you charge for the value you create, that's just how it works. But despite all that, something just feels deeply, deeply wrong. It's this question that just won't leave them alone. This slide really lays out the two sides of the coin perfectly. On the one hand, you've got the rock-solid business case. The development costs are astronomical, you have ongoing server costs, you've got to keep the lights on. But on the other hand, you have this gnawing moral dilemma. If education is a fundamental right, should learning really be a tiered system? Should your access to essential tools depend on how much money you have? And that tension, that's what leads us to this huge, fundamental question. Have we made a massive mistake here? Is this new technology really just another product to be sold? Or is it something more, something essential, like a public utility? As a society, we've always kind of drawn a line in the sand here. A luxury watch, a fancy meal, a streaming subscription, those are private products. But things like clean water, the roads we drive on, public schools, we've decided those are too essential to be left entirely to the whims of the market. They're basically a right. Okay, so here's the absolute core of the argument. The source says a brand new essential literacy is emerging, and it belongs firmly in that utility column. They call it AI literacy. And it's not just about knowing how to code, it's the basic ability to understand, to interact with, and even to shape the digital systems that now run our world. Now get this. This comparison is pretty mind-blowing. The argument is that not being able to read code or understand AI today is becoming just as debilitating as not being able to read words was 200 years ago. Look at the parallels. Both are required for self-governance and to get a decent job. If you lack either one, your ability to act in the world is severely limited. So if we all agree that reading and writing is a necessary part of education, shouldn't AI literacy be one too? Okay, so we've set the stage, we understand the argument, and the stakes are pretty high. So now it's time for the big reveal. Because this whole confession, this founder's dilemma, it's not just some thought experiment. It's very, very real. So who is this founder? Who is this person who built this incredible world-changing tool only to feel like they made a huge mistake by putting a price tag on it? Well, here's the twist. The founder isn't a real person. The whole confession is a setup, a narrative device designed to make us think about what's happening in the real world. That whole confession, it's a clever way to get us thinking about the actual companies making these choices right now. We're talking about the big players, Anthropic with its model Claude, OpenAI with ChatGPT, Google, the list goes on. They've all built these unbelievably powerful tools and have all chosen to sell them as tiered products. Okay, but let's be fair here. There are some really solid reasons for keeping these AI tools as private, paid products, and the source doesn't shy away from them. So let's tackle these objections head on. And these are serious points, right? First up, the cost. Building this stuff is insanely expensive. But the response is, yeah, so is building a national highway system, and we figure out how to fund that publicly. Okay, what about innovation? The profit motive drives progress like nothing else. The counterargument? Faster for who, exactly? Maybe universal access is better than hyperspeed that only benefits a few. And finally, what about the free versions? They exist, but the source says that's not a right. That's just smart marketing. So, okay, if the companies themselves aren't just going to switch gears on their own, how does something like this even happen? How does a piece of private tech ever become public infrastructure? Well, the argument is that it comes down to what's called a forcing function, and it all starts in the classroom. The minute AI becomes a standard part of public school, the gap between the kids whose parents can afford the premium version and the kids who can't is going to become painfully obvious. And once that happens, you're going to see massive public pressure from everyone, parents, teachers, you name it, until the whole tiered model just isn't acceptable anymore. And look, this isn't some new idea. We've seen this play out time and time again throughout history. Electricity, the telephone, they all started out as luxuries for the rich, but as soon as they became essential for modern life, society stepped in and said, nope, everyone needs access to this. The argument is, AI is on that exact same trajectory. Which brings us right back to here and now, to a choice that's sitting right in front of all of us, whether we're paying attention or not. The source really doesn't pull any punches here. It has a clear call to action for pretty much everyone. It challenges the AI companies to see their creations for what they are, utilities. It calls on educators to draw a line and demand equal tools for every student. It asks all of us, as a society, to decide if AI literacy is a right. And it urges each of us to understand this isn't just about pricing, it's about fundamental equity. So at the end of the day, it comes down to this. The decision to treat these incredibly powerful tools as private, tiered products has already been made. It's been made by the companies who built them. The real question, the one we're all left with, is whether we, collectively, are just going to let that choice stand.